I don't see a little microphone for her yet.
Yeah.
Name.
There we go. Glenn, can you hear us?
Oh, there she is.
Yay.
And we're live.
All right, yeah, we're good. I'm gonna go in the booth and check it, make sure it sounds good.
Great.
Okay.
Whoop.
All right, 1 second. I will share my screen. Get going. Oh,
Glenn, we're glad you're here. You make the quorum. Glenn, can you hear us?
I can hear you, but it's really, the sound quality is terrible. It's kind of like breaking up, and I'm not sure why. It wouldn't let me on. I mean, usually what I do is go through my SF State Zoom account and then just enter a meeting, you know, the meeting information, and it wouldn't let me on. It told me I had to join on the web, and now it looks like I'm actually have joined twice.
Oh,
So
that's
I'm not
probably
sure
why.
what the heck is going on.
I am only seeing.
You know, I think I'm going to get off and start over because I have pretty good internet, and but the sound quality is terrible. I really can't understand people. So I will try again. Is everybody else on?
Everyone that we are expecting, yes.
Hello? Ah. Oh.
Reboot, Glenn.
All right. I'm going to. What?
It's okay.
I'm going to try again. So I'm going to bow out briefly. Go ahead without me, and I will be back. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye. I don't think she realizes we can't do anything without her.
That's okay. Here, we can, I think, at least begin some of the formalities. So you are all seeing my screen, I hope, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Hang on a second. There we go. I still had YouTube open, so I was hearing myself after the fact. Okay, so meeting setup and introduction. I'll just put this here for a minute. If anyone is watching on channel 27, you are able to join our meeting through Zoom or to send remote public comments to aetherton@brisbaneca.org or text them to 415-203-8897. And I think we will, can we call to order without one, or should we wait for that as well?
I don't know protocol.
Are we just, we're waiting for Glenn?
Yeah.
Okay.
What if we call to order and skip roll call and
Yeah.
do
Well, the
oral
meeting's
communications?
called, yeah, let's just call it to order and get going. This meeting's called to order on December 16th, the open space and ecology meeting. So next item will is adoption of the agenda.
I
Motion
think
do
I
that.
need to wait on that as well. So let's go.
Oh, okay.
He
Okay.
has oral communications, and then we'll go back to the items once Glenn rejoins.
Okay. Okay.
I have an oral communication. I would like to remind people that plants from the Mission Blue Nursery are available, even though we are not having a plant sale because of COVID. But if you need plants, you can call the office or you can go online and make an appointment. We're using all very strict protocols. And the plant list is on the Mountain Watch site, which is mountainwatch.org. So please don't hesitate to buy plants. It's the perfect time of year to plant natives, especially after we had a nice rainstorm. And that's my public announcement. Oh,
Thank you,
and you
Michelle.
can also donate at the end of the year, and it's tax deductible. And you can do that at mountainwatch.org too. That's it.
And I don't have any comments from the public on the text.
Oh, there she's back. I was gonna say we could jump ahead to staff updates, I guess. That's not an action item. Looks like she's coming back on.
Yeah.
Oh, there she is.
Live sound. Glenn, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it better for you, Glenn?
Yeah, it sounds better than it did before. Before I could barely understand anybody. So this time it seems to be working.
All right.
Great. So let's go ahead with roll call. Note that Ebel, Fieldman, Rogers, and Salmon are present. Committee members Dykes and Lamb are absent. Sorry, I've got two monitors and lots going on. Let me get back to the slides and we can go to adoption of the agenda.
I move that we adopt the agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, and I will call roll call. Salmon?
Yes.
I can call you by your first name, sorry. Barbara?
Here.
Mary?
Yes.
Glenn?
Here.
Great. Okay. Next up, we've already covered oral communications, approval of the minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes.
I second.
Okay. And I will ask for your votes again by roll call. Michelle,
Yes.
Barbara,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Glenn.
Aye.
One thing about the minutes though, there's a lot of action things in the minutes. Do they get scanned and then have those action things on staff updates?
Generally, yes. I think all of us staff members reviewed the minutes before the next meeting at the very least to make sure that we've covered our action items or set things in motion.
Okay.
We'll try to update on any of them that have been that were mentioned, and if we miss any,
Okay.
go ahead and ask again.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So I guess it's all me since both Carl and Ross are absent tonight. So the reason this kind of got started is because there's been a fairly strong public outcry about light pollution. And of course, we all know that it's important to the environment. So we met a couple times at Madhouse before the pandemic. We've met virtually a couple times. We read some ordinances, and we kind of picked one to use as kind of like a template so that we weren't creating everything from scratch. with COVID, there was a lot of disruption in terms of just getting people to keep moving forward. That was very difficult. I got to say, this is one of the more difficult subcommittees I've been in on some ways. But it is important, and I think we're finally getting there. So I don't know if I hope everybody had a chance to read it tonight. We started off with residential being advisory and commercial being mandatory. And I think eventually we will want to move to the residential also being mandatory, but I think that that's at the council's discretion. I think that's a ways out there. Does anybody have any questions or would kind of like me to explain any part of our thought process, or how would you guys like to?
I have some questions and some thoughts. First of all, I think that
interject real quick. If you'd like, I have the document open. I didn't put it into the slides, but if we need to open the document, we can do that. Just let me know.
that would be good. First of all, this has been something that I've wanted us to do since even before I even got on the Open Space and Ecology Committee.
Me
because
too.
I've been appalled at the amount of light, especially in the industrial park and now in the residential area. And one thing I do think is that any new construction, even if it's residential, needs to meet the requirements, needs to be mandatory, not optional. So I think that we really do need to change that. And then another area that I had a question about was when you were describing zones 1 and 2. Can you find that section, Adrian? I think it was around the 3rd or 4th page. Zones.
Is this what you're looking at?
Where they're actually, okay. And then it says B, lighting classes, and then it says class 1. And it goes on to describe class 1. If you go down a little bit. And then it says class 2. Anyway, where it's describing the zones, one zone is commercial and the other zone is described as multi-unit and R3, but I'm not seeing where they list R1 residential.
Yeah, that's because we as a subcommittee didn't want to tackle residential. Just straight single unit residential. If the committee's will is different than that, then we can revisit that.
It absolutely is different than that because some of the single family homes, the lighting has been egregious lately.
Oh, definitely.
And so I do think it needs to be included because if we don't include it now, we're not going to probably get to for quite some time. So I really think it does need to be included. So that wasn't an oversight in language, I guess. I thought maybe it was,
No.
but I think R1 and R2 really need to be included as well. We need to cover everything. Because when we take it to the council, we really want it to be pretty complete. And one of the things that I think that we should do also, if we go back to the very beginning, about the advantages of dark skies and why we want to be a dark sky city, I think that part, our goal here, should be published in the next Star.
Sure, I think that's a great little
as an article.
Yeah.
So to get people warmed up to the idea that we're going to become a dark city, because people have asked me about this. They've asked me about the lighting out on the Baylands and the current lighting on the Baylands. And there are a lot of people who are very concerned about light pollution. And I think if people knew that we were starting to address it, we might get more input. We would certainly get more support. And I just think that would be a really good thing. So is that a possibility that we could sort of do an article for the luminary based on our goals here and why it's so important for health and everything? Like, I didn't even know the part about the air pollution in relation to the light pollution, where one of the chemical reactions that happens to reduce air pollution happens in the dark.
Yeah, that one was really made a huge impact on me personally because I tend to like to walk right before dawn.
Uh-huh.
The air smells so much sweeter.
Yeah, it's really nice.
And I was like, and this, it was just like, and I who can smell nothing. If I can tell that the air is beautiful and sweet before dawn, then this seems to me like this is a really dramatic effect. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess my nose doesn't, it's not scientific quantification, it's not proof, but it's a documented phenomenon. So
So do you want me to make that into an article, or do you want, do you want Adrian
I'd be
to, or
happy to do it.
Adrian, do you know when the next, can we get, first of all, Adrian, can we get in the next star?
Nope, the deadline for January was yesterday, so we can ask about February.
What if I had it to him by tomorrow or the next day?
I think Caroline was trying to get it together earlier than her normal deadline, and her normal deadline is the 15th. So I think
It's
that's
the holiday.
probably not going to happen. I think
Yeah,
it's probably honestly already off to the printer or very near it.
Okay.
Okay. For February. I'll have that ready.
Yeah, at this point, an article that educates and says what OSEC is doing is good, but you wouldn't want to say, that this an ordinance would have to go to council and they would have to adopt it. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, I get that. This is more of a warm-up.
Yeah. This is, because we've had a lot of informal community input, people complaining about, their too much brightness and not being able to rest, and that it would be good to solicit some formal input we didn't need to do that. I mean, that's part of our responsibility before we take things to council, is to get formal input from the community.
yeah, so would you want the article to do that? Would you ask people to give feedback and how?
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about doing something on Facebook, but I didn't quite jump on it. I think the thing I most want to know is what do people not want to have happen? What is going to tick them off? If we can just avoid and navigate people's grievances, then I think we can make a really good ordinance.
I would really love to write the article. Can I write it, Barbara?
Okay, I guess.
Okay.
I'm
rarely passionate about writing an article, but this one I really want to.
Well, me too.
Huh?
Me too. I mean,
but it was my idea, so is it okay? I feel very passionate about this, and I think that I can hit the right balance. And then you can do the social media part, then I can help on that. If I just feel like I have it in my head all laid out already, how I'd love to be able to express this.
Sure.
But of course, I'll run it by you as the committee chair for that.
Subcommittee chair.
Huh? Subcommittee chair.
Yeah, not committee chair.
No, I meant committee chair for that. Subcommittee chair. Okay. Is that okay? You be all right with that? Okay.
Karen, question on the social media side of things. Does that need to go through the city account, or I know there are some we need to be careful with committee members asking about committee business on social media?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as only one of us is posting, it's pretty okay. I mean, that's was sort of my understanding.
I was thinking, would you want to do a survey, like a Survey Monkey?
Sure. I mean, I was thinking something. I mean, I was thinking more open question, but I'm not opposed to doing Survey Monkey either.
You can do a Survey Monkey that has open questions, Barbara.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess yeah.
If you want to do the Survey Monkey, I think that'd be awesome, and I'll do the article.
And then you put in the article, here's the link to the survey.
Yeah. Sound cool?
Yeah.
Okay.
Barbara, I know that the city has a professional account with Survey Monkey, so if you'd like, I could probably work with you on that if I can get the login information, and we might be able to. I think you get a little bit better analytics on the results from using that. So we can be in touch about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And if any other committee members or even the subcommittee members have questions that they think would be helpful, please go ahead and send them to Adrienne and she'll send them to me.
Okay. I think you've done a tremendously great job on doing this so far.
Thank you.
I just want to make sure that we don't send it to the council half-baked and that we really cover everything that we want, in particular R1 and R2, because like with the tree ordinance, we want to make it, we don't want to have to go back, circle back with them again. So I just really want to get this right the first time around and really just, because it's been a long time in coming, and it just now is the time, especially before they start any further major development.
You don't
Of
think
any
it might
nature.
be an easier sell for council if we
No.
make R1? Okay.
No, I think we should ask for what we think we need, and I think we need R1 as well.
Okay.
And especially since we don't know what R1 developments there's going to be in the future, or R2, or is everything from now on always going to be multi-use? We just don't know. So I want to make sure we really cover our bases on it.
I mean, yeah, you've got a point.
Don't make them do the work twice, because they just won't.
Okay.
They won't want to. And I think that we'll have a council that's very favorable to this at this point.
I hope so. I mean,
I think so.
It's really, I think it's at the right direction.
Yeah, I agree.
Does anybody else on the committee have Glenn or Mary?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just noticed that Glenn had raised.
I actually
I'm sorry,
added
folks.
a
I
comment.
can barely hear anybody.
Uh-oh.
Sounds like Glenn's still having problems, or her
I'm
problem.
having a hard. Yeah, I am having problems, but I did want to say that I think we should ask for what we want, and also that if somebody's good with a camera, some photographic evidence of the brightness of those lights on San Bruno Mountain would be a good thing to have show the council when we go to defend it. I don't know if anybody heard me or not.
Yeah,
did.
Yes.
I'm just not sure, because it would have to be a nighttime photography, and I'm not.
You know, Glenn, I think that I can ask a couple of different people who live up like on Kings Road and that type of thing. There's my friend Peter's done some really good night photography, and that has illustrated that. So I think that we can do that. That's a great idea, Glenn.
And darksky.org has a guide on taking photographs at night for like a physical survey for the need for ordinances.
Could you repeat that, Bob?
If you Google dark sky need survey, darksky.org has a guide for like nighttime photographs for proving the need for a survey. So it's the first thing that comes up on Google. I just Googled dark sky need survey. And I was thinking of like the questionnaire survey, but it was came up of like how to photograph the area to prove your point. So.
Okay,
Oh,
perfect.
I had no idea.
Bob, if you have the link open, could you drop the link in the chat?
Sure.
You know, I don't know if I read the article. I added a few comments. It was mostly geared towards compliance and accountability. So if all this happens, how do we, maintain that people won't change back? So in particular, the folks on Tunnel Avenue, I still think those lights are pretty bright. And I don't think they've changed those. That's one of my biggest beefs, because I could see it from my kitchen. I can't imagine the folks up on the ridge I'm sure those lights are just glaring into their residence. But it's, it's the whole compliance thing. We can ask for everything we want and the council may agree to it, but it's how do we maintain it and how do we enforce it? So it's enforcement and compliance.
So I don't know about the ordinances that Carl and Ross would have to answer that question about the ordinances they read. But the ones I read, the enforcement was complaint driven. Like, so
Okay.
the city, the citizens would report a light that they feel is over threshold, and then the city would send somebody out with a light meter or whatever apparatus they use and determine whether or not it was over its prescribed threshold.
Okay.
And then the people would get a warning letter, and then if they failed to comply, then they were potentially subject to a fine.
Do we need to include that in this draft?
Well, there is the part about the fine, and I think the way the city, we could add the part about the warning letter, and we can add more specifically. I mean, the city already kind of is, the Brisbane kind of runs these kinds of programs generally complaint-based.
Okay.
But if you wanted to actually spell that out in the ordinance, we could.
Yeah. I think it would be a good idea because it just doesn't allow any excuses, right? So it's in the ordinance. You're not complying. Comply, please. So if it's not in there, it'll fall through the cracks, I think.
I was thinking that would talk about the building efficiency program and how we didn't put specifics about fines because there is generally in the code an administrative citation section that can be used for anything in the Muni code.
Yeah, that's what I on the thing here, I changed it just to say refer to the section, refer to the code thing, but I don't know what that section is, so we'll have to fill in those numbers and things. But I figured we would just use the administrative fine section. I didn't think we needed to make it up.
Seems like the code enforcement officer would be the person that would follow up on those types of things.
Yeah, I think
so.
So.
We could probably just copy that section from the building efficiency program ordinance. It should be, I would think, very similar language. Refer back to that section.
Absolutely. Sounds great.
I hate to say it, but we don't have a good track record with code enforcement or with variance enforcement or conditions of variance enforcement, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, and I mean, I think in the city's history that I know, we've had a different level of staffing of the position, and only in the past few years did it become full-time.
That's true.
And
That's very
unfortunately, that person now has left, but I think there was a lot more room to do it when there was a full-time position. And I believe that's, sorry, background noise, open to be refilled. As far as, I don't know, I haven't heard, but as far as I know. And but Barbara is right that I think primarily it's complaint driven, that the code enforcement officer doesn't, go around town looking for people that aren't compliant with things.
But in the case of,
and maybe they should, maybe when they're not out enforcing stuff, maybe they should just, I don't know, that gets into,
Yeah,
I don't know what
I mean, all I'm saying is we should include it so it's there, it's documented, and we have a leg to stand on. So, whether or not the enforcement officer goes out to, the business or the residential area, I mean, we can't control that, but at least it's documented.
Sure.
And
Adrian, can I tag you on that one since you have the building efficiency? Okay, great. Just copy paste for me.
Yep, I can do that.
Great, thank you. I'd love to hear from Glenn, except she's having problems, so I don't know if she can.
Yeah, I can sort of hear. What did you want to hear from me about, Barbara?
About the ordinance, do you have any feedback?
Yeah, I kind of said already that I think it should be mandatory, and you know the reported violations are what we do with trees. Although, you know, we write to the city if somebody's got a dead tree that needs to come down. We tell the city where it is, and the city sends them a letter. With this, it's going to be a little bit harder because you can see, you know, I'm looking out my front window, I can see lots of bright lights, but I don't know exactly where they're coming from. And that's going to be a little bit of a job to track down the homeowners, you know, the owners of those properties. So I'm not have enough, you know, we don't have the bandwidth to do a general. Did you hear that? I can't really tell if anybody hears me or not.
Most
Partially.
of it. I mean, you make an excellent point because it is difficult to say. I mean, if it's one thing if you're walking out at night and you happen to walk by a house and their front porch light is just, you know, searchlight quality, like boom, then
Exactly.
you need to pick up their address. But if you see something across the mountain at night, picking out which house it is going to be difficult, and we had not really considered that. If anybody has any input or suggestions on that, it's kind of a real world problem. I'd love to hear it, but
Kind of sounds like it's outside the content of the ordinance, though, unless it isn't. But
well, I mean,
I'm
it
sorry?
depends on whether or not we expand this to cover residential. If we expand this to cover single family residential, then it will be within the scope of the ordinance. And
well, but how you identify the, you know,
Yeah.
how a resident, you know,
Okay, I see
asks
what
for
you're
code
saying.
enforcement.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, but I mean, typically with code enforcement, I think you normally submit an address.
Yeah.
You don't just say, hey, code enforcement officer, go find the bright light that's across from my house. I mean, that's
Yeah, I agree. But I don't, for the purpose of what the ordinance is content of it, that doesn't
Well,
need to be resolved for that.
I think yes and no, Karen, in my opinion. I think it would be a good idea if we could tackle this. And if we could figure out how to make that easier or feasible, then we might be able to add some affordance in the ordinance. You know, we want to make sure that the way this is going to work and the ordinance, like in the way it's going to work in the real world, and the ordinance paper language are compatible. So if we don't know how it's going to work in the real world, then we've potentially written the wrong ordinance.
Yeah, that's true. Or nothing happens. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you that it's technically outside of the scope of the ordinance, but I'd like to know what we're going to do so that we can write the ordinance that matches reality. So if we can figure that out, great.
I got my hand up again.
Yeah.
Just a comment on that. Barbara, I think, you know, in a way, I'm sorry I brought up that issue because although I do think it's a problem, I still think that we should go ahead and write the ordinance.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, if some people are just going to read it and say, oh, I need to do something about my porch light. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm hoping for. You know, the fact that we have an ordinance, the fact that city council will have discussed it, the fact that it applies to residential buildings may get some compliance. And then we figure out the rest of it later. But I don't think that this is an issue that should hold up the ordinance at all.
No, I mean, I don't think we need
Am I making sense?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we need to let it hold it up so much as if we just apply our brains. If we can come up with something great, I don't think I want to really delay it, however.
Yeah, I think there's other things in the ordinance that need refinement more than that.
Okay. Great. How about staff? Does staff have any feedback?
I didn't read it yet. To be honest. And I can't read it now. It's way too small.
All right. Adrian, Bob?
I confess my reading of it was at a pretty high skim kind of level. So I will have to go back and take a closer look to have any kind of meaningful feedback.
Sure. And then you have more things that sounds like you have on your mind, Michelle. So, comment on the Google Doc or whatever, and we'll continue to bash it in, and we'll just make it really beautiful.
Yeah, I'd love to have it ready for a final approval of the OSEC committee by the January meeting, if that's possible.
I mean, it depends on the scale of everybody's feedback, but I feel like that's feasible.
But you were gonna do a survey.
What was that, Karen? I didn't hear that.
I thought we were gonna do a public, you were trying to get public input.
All right, maybe you're right. Maybe we didn't want to do, maybe we shouldn't do it that fast. Maybe Adrian and I should sit down and do that survey really soon.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do the survey as quickly as possible, especially now while people may have some free time during the holidays. It doesn't have to be published with the article in January. Let's just get it out there.
In February.
February.
Article will be February, in the beginning of February.
Yeah, the article wouldn't be until the February star would come out at the beginning of February. So we could certainly open the survey before then and send it out in a weekly email blast or something. But if we wanted to allude to it in that article, I would say keep it open until maybe mid-February, and then maybe we'd be able to have it back for the committee.
Maybe we put the article as the introduction to the survey.
Yeah.
I mean, on a blast.
Yeah,
What about
those are
the,
options.
do we have the ability to put it in the luminary? I don't know how often that comes out.
It comes out pretty often, and we could ask.
I have found it tends to be a little bit tougher to get stuff in the luminary, but
Okay.
We could ask.
I know the editor.
Who's editing it now?
Madison.
Okay. Yeah, we can ask.
Yeah. And it does involve, businesses in Brisbane, so I think it might be of interest.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, okay.
Okay.
All right. Let me switch back to the slides here. There we go. I'll seeing the slides again, I hope.
Yep.
Okay. So our next agenda item was the 2021 work plan. You'll probably recognize most of this because it wasn't all that different from our 2020 work plan. I made a few tweaks here with regard to the building efficiency program. I believe the lighting ordinance was already in there, but that is something we'll be a little bit more active on, it sounds like. The disposable foodware ordinance is something that we are hoping to bring back. The county has pushed back their, it's going to be pushing back their compliance deadline to March of 2022. So I thought it might be nice if we are able to move that forward and adopt by about March to be able to give businesses a 1-year lead time still or again. So that's something we'll try to do early in the year in 2021. We'll continue with promoting opportunities to reuse, recycle, and compost, reduce municipal waste with a sustainable purchasing guide, continuing the participation in the Bosco water saving programs, road emissions and transportation in the section where we did put a couple of updates. promoting and pursuing installation of EV charging infrastructure, educating staff in the community regarding transit options, and promoting continued telework where feasible. We also have considered a city staff pilot program incentivizing alternative commutes. So if the time becomes right for that, we may try to move that forward in 2021. And then pursuing low emission electric hybrid vehicles where applicable. So before I move on to the second page of this, does anybody have any questions or comments on this portion?
Not really. We're going to need to get back to the cap at some point.
I can't hear Adrian at all.
Oh no.
Can you call in on your phone, Glenn, and mute yourself on your computer?
I guess, yeah. Usually this works fine. I mean, I'm on Zoom every day of the week.
Yeah, it happens.
But okay.
You probably wore it out.
No, actually, before you do that, Glenn, one thing you might check. This happened to me once where all of my Zooms were fine, and then one day it didn't work. Go into the little down arrow next to the mute button into audio settings. Double check your volume levels on your speaker and microphone.
Okay.
I had randomly one day where my microphone volume was like completely turned down to nothing and nobody could hear me, and I couldn't figure out why for like half of a meeting. So
No, it's not a volume issue. You're quite loud. It's that you're breaking up, and I don't know what that's all about. It's just weird. As I said, usually I have Zoom installed from San Francisco State, and usually I just open that one and put the meeting information into it and it works fine. But this time, nobody would let me into the meeting. So I don't know if you saw that I was there or not.
no,
So I will get off and try to find the phone number and just call.
Well, just you want to mute this and leave it so you can still see the screen.
yeah.
So you can. Well, I wish she had said if she had comments on the first page.
Well, we'll go ahead to the second page and let her know she can follow up with them. I think I sent the document of this with the minutes and agenda, right? So hopefully everybody has it and can send me comments. Otherwise, you can hardly see them, Karen. They disappear into your background.
All right.
All right, let's go ahead to page 2 of the work plan. So coordinating the climate action plan update with the Baylands specific plan, vegetation management for the city-owned Brisbane acres, other habitat restoration. Hopefully we will be able to pick back up with our habitat restoration days, and we have the draft invasive species ordinance in here as well. I'm not sure why that text is different for that little portion.
It's really important.
Yeah.
Really, it's the most important in the whole thing. I don't know what happened there when I pasted that in. Education and outreach. We'll see what of these events are able to pick back up. Hopefully, most of them will be able to happen. And then I also added investigate opportunities for display in the new library. And then the remaining items were carryovers, policy recommendations on the 2001 open space plan, update, providing input on the design of Baylands open space, and the general plan review of future proposed updates to an open space element. So any questions on the remainder of the work plan? Or comments, suggestions?
Sounds good.
All right.
Oh, you know what? I have a question. Do we need to include anything for the Guadalupe linear park?
Ooh, good catch.
Right. That's going to be a biggie.
I don't know that, well, we're definitely participating in the master planning. You know, just by the virtue of having a subcommittee, it could be on here, I
Okay.
suppose.
Okay.
I mean, would you maybe put it as a sub bullet under the I don't know, I guess it's not commuter connectivity.
I don't know where you would put it.
Back on the first page. Road emissions. I mean, well, it's not.
Would it fall under, you know, other habitat restoration? I mean,
That seems a little specific. I mean, if we were like looking for funding opportunities, then I would say that could go there.
I mean, we could just make it its own item, 9, or put it as number 6 and move the last 3 down. Something along those lines. It doesn't feel like it fits real well in any of the others.
So I would call it Crocker / Guadalupe Valley Trail Master Plan, participation, and semicolon, you know, seek funding opportunities to improve habitat or improve you know, native species.
Yeah.
Like that.
Native species and habitat. I don't know.
I'll come back to the video to get the exact text.
I did something with my.
Did you have something?
Admit, Glenn, did you call in? Sorry.
I made my Zoom small so I could go look at the notice you sent, and now I can't remember how to make it big again.
Upper right-hand corner.
Upper
right-hand corner?
The last time I did that, I ended up closing it. So don't worry.
Should be
Just
maximize.
I'm trying to see if I can tell if Glenn has
come to the waiting room.
Or I'm not seeing.
She's on mute, right? It looks like she's muted.
Well, yeah.
Well, oh yeah, I don't know if she's on the phone.
Glenn, are you hearing us? Are you with us? I don't see a waiting room, so I don't think anybody's in the waiting room. Okay. I guess we should go ahead and move on then.
Soldier on.
Staff updates are next. Do you want me to go ahead and start?
Sure.
All right. So let's see. First up, I have the update on the Recycled Arts and Crafts contest. So all of the participants, and I know a few of you were participants, have been notified. We are starting to coordinate prize drop-offs for next week, and we have an article in that will be going out in the city's email blast on Friday and in the January Star. And then I also have a web page that is in progress and should be updated maybe tomorrow, but definitely by Friday before those notifications go out. So we'll try to include everybody's submissions in that. Probably will have to be a separate kind of link or attachment to include everyone's, but there were really great submissions. We had almost 30 submissions. It was really fun to judge the submissions and look through them. They were pretty great. So very happy with that. Let's see, we also, Karen and Justin Ewan and I submitted applications this morning for Cal EVIP EV charger funding. So the big program, millions of dollars available to install EV charging. So we're working with Peninsula Clean Energy's consultants to evaluate designs at 3 different city sites and put in applications for funding for all of those. It's kind of placeholder funding. So we will see which ones of those we're able to move forward. The technical assistance to do the design work and provide us a few different options is free. And installation would require a 25% city match, or minimum 25%, I guess, city match. They have a cap. The 3 locations are City Hall, Mission Blue, and the Park and Ride lot on Bayshore. So we applied for level 2 funding for all of the sites, and then also a fast charger at City Hall, with the thinking that potentially police EV vehicles may have a desire to use a fast charger in the future. Hopefully we can get police EVs in the future. So applications are in, and we'll be moving forward with that technical assistance over the next couple of months, and hopefully be able to move something forward. We'll have to see what we have appetite for. Yeah, Karen.
And this sort of came out while Adrian was out, but no other staff heard about it. So it was a very short time frame. So we prioritized sites. We picked those 3 and we applied, but we did not have time other than at staff level to vet, what we applied for and to secure the funding on the city side. So we're real hopeful about Mission Blue, and the other 2 were like, placeholders. Let's see what the appetite is. Does that characterize it?
Yeah, I think so. And I think the other thing to note there is that we also shared this information with some of the board members of the Altamar HOA, and my understanding is that they were also in contact with the PCE technical consulting team as well. So I don't know for sure if they submitted an application this morning, but I know that they are aware of it and were at least considering working with PCE and their team on that. So hopefully they are able to move that forward with this program as well.
Thanks for jumping on that, Karen.
Yeah.
Adrian,
Karen.
I was the backup.
Oh, both of you.
It's one of those weird applications where each site needed its own person to apply, and you had to do it as soon as it opened. So we all 3 were at the computer at 8 a.m. this morning waiting for it to open.
Poised and ready. And yeah, we've heard interest, maybe you guys have too, from Altamar, many times, I need a place to charge my vehicle. So we really hope that they do it too. And Mission Blue, Mission Blue may be competitive for them. It'd be better if they had it at their, on their site, but maybe both will end up.
I think both would be nice, because if somebody's coming from out of town for an event or something at Mission Blue, once we have events again, then
right.
If they're at the end of their range, they might benefit some event, time charging.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. So we'll let you know about that as that moves forward. And then the last thing, I have some updates on the building efficiency program. So we are moving forward with Climate Corps is moving forward with contracting with a fellow. We're expecting them to start with us on January 19th, which I think is going to be right in time for our January meeting. So hopefully the fellow will be able to join our January meeting to meet everybody. We completed a case study on by rights participation in the voluntary pilot. So that's going to be, the case study will be on our program website. And then we also have that going in the January STAR. And this is why I say the luminary is a little tougher. I just got word back this afternoon. They were full for their January edition and it was already off to the printer. But they will run that in their February print edition and probably in email sometime after the holidays. So Chamber will be helping promote that as well. And then lastly, we had a staff training on the Malka platform on November 30th. Karen and Bob joined me. It's looking pretty good. The customizations are still underway, and there's definitely still some additional training needed. The platform's going to continue to evolve and improve as the Malka team gets additional contracts with other locations and, you know, continues to be able to build out the software. But I think it's looking pretty good and should meet our needs pretty well. So that, I think, is it for me.
But, well, are you looking at the Google Sheet? I added one for you.
No, I'm not. I already did myself a favor and pasted them into my minutes doc.
Oh, okay.
Reading them off of that. Hang on a second.
Yeah, I can tell you the Mission Blue solar plus storage study.
Oh yeah. Gosh, almost a year ago, I guess it was now, Peninsula Clean Energy reached out to us for some information on emergency sites for the city. They were doing a study on solar plus storage for community resiliency. And Mission Blue is one of the sites they are interested in potentially moving forward to the next phase of the project. So it's still a little tentative. It sounded like they had sent "you're invited to the next phase" kind of information to more sites than they actually had slots for. It was just kind of a, "are you interested?" So we said, yes, we are interested in continuing to move forward with that, and are waiting to hear back from them about whether we will actually be moving forward and having them review solar and storage at Mission Blue. That is one of our emergency sites, so it would be a great place to have solar and storage backed up to be able to keep the site open. Yeah, Barbara.
Whatever happened to the heat pumps for the pool? I mean, we don't want to do them right now. Well, I guess we are still using the pool, but whatever became of that?
That's something for me to try to get to council. It's, you know, I guess I was concerned about the cost. We have to sell it as a cost savings over time, but
Yeah. I thought it did pencil out to save money over time, but you know, it's been a while since we talked about this. So it just occurred to me, it's been like a year since we talked about it.
yeah.
So we've got to figure that out. If it does pencil out, if it doesn't, maybe we should just drop it, you know. We'll see.
I was thinking about it today too, because the podocarpus trees that are there are starting to grow up through the solar panels again. I noticed today.
I noticed that too.
Yeah. Where's my pruners?
All right, are we to me? The updates I have are mostly transportation stuff, but they're relevant. Oh, well, the first one is Davy Tree has let me know that they are pretty certain the festival tree will not come back, and now it's time to take it out. They wanted to give it more time, and they said it's just gotten worse in that month and a half. You know, we thought 3 or 4 months might make a difference, but it's gotten actually worse. So my note is next steps, question mark. You know, I asked the city manager, and he said, let's have the committee talk about what they think we should do. You know, I think people like that spot, but do we want to try the same tree or a different tree? Do we want to meet as a subcommittee? What would you guys like to do as next step?
Oh, can I just Glenn's she's waiting to be let in. She just texted me. And you're on mute, Adrian. Okay.
Okay, let her in. Thank you for letting me know.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
Normally blinks at me and I didn't.
Okay, thank you.
So.
Okay. Sorry about that. Okay.
No problem.
She's back.
I'm back. Sorry.
Hi, Glenn. I don't know how long you were in the waiting room. I didn't see anything blinking at me to let me know.
Sorry, I just had to shut down my computer and reboot it and get back on. So it took me a while. Sorry about that. But now I can hear people.
Good.
Your hand up, Barbara.
Yeah, I had 3 thoughts about the festival tree. One is I don't think we should take it out till after Christmas because people have actually decorated it.
Oh, they have?
Yeah.
I hadn't noticed that.
The kids have been hanging ornaments on it, and I gave it a get well card, which doesn't seem to have worked, but hey.
Oh.
And then so let's wait till after Christmas at a minimum.
I don't think we'll get it scheduled before then anyways. I was thinking that it would be nice for right at the end of the year, kind of a new beginning for 2021.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. My other thoughts is I think Michelle and I thought it should have been a little bit further back from the sidewalk.
I remember that.
And then if you look at the way they're planting these days at Filoli, they're actually putting the root ball like 18 inches above the ground and making a little mound and forcing the roots to go like down. So it's almost like on a little, I don't know, a little cone, a cone of dirt, raised cone of dirt.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think we should consider that next time too, is putting it up a little higher.
Never been to Filoli.
Yeah, you should go to Filoli sometime. Although like, it's probably closed now.
Probably.
So for me, a couple of things. One, I think that if we, buy a tree to put there, it needs to be a tree that is grown locally, like in the Bay Area. I think that tree suffered a lot of transplant shock coming from San Diego to here. The climate is very different here than it is in San Diego. And a tree of that size would be used to the conditions in which it was grown under. And I think that was one error we made. And then not planting it in the right place. So when we're going to have the planting day, I want to make sure that we're there to tell them exactly where it's supposed to be planted, because we had designated where it was supposed to be planted, and then that's not where it got planted. So I think that that's really important.
Well, I think you can put a flag in the ground, but I don't think 6 people pointing is going to be useful.
Well, we didn't even know they were doing it. And as soon as I saw they were digging it, that they dug the hole, I'm like, that's the wrong place. And who was I going to call on us? That wasn't even a weekday. It was a Saturday or something when they did it. And it was the wrong place. And there was nobody telling them that's the wrong place. So we need, definitely somebody supervising that and telling them it's the right place. I'm sorry, just didn't get planted in the right place. And I think we are all agreed on that, because it's not the place we said it was supposed to go. Yeah, Glenn.
Do we know where whether there are gas lines in that corner of the park?
We did, yes, we did USA.
Okay, I was just thinking, if we know that stuff, then somebody could go out and spray paint an X on the grass where it's supposed to go.
Yeah, that's what staff did, and it wasn't what Michelle wanted, I guess.
It wasn't the place we agreed on when we did the site visit, Karen.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really put a marker or anything.
No, but the place where the tree was planted was where that lantana came out, and that's not where we had intended to plant the tree.
How many feet off was it?
About 5 or 6.
You want it 5 or 6 feet further back.
Yeah, closer to the other tree.
We had to move the power that lights the tree and puts the uplights on the deodar cedar. So there may have been restrictions. I think it was going to be, if it was closer, it was going to get into the drip line of the deodar cedar was the concern. Like there wasn't, not in the drip line, but very close to it, like crowding it. But let's not debate here and now.
Let's try to fix the
problems. Take a note
to
find the ideal place for it.
Yeah, and then choosing the ideal tree, because other people have said, oh, well, that's really wasn't the right tree. And it's like, well, okay, I don't know exactly what species of tree or hybrid tree that Megan and I looked at when we went down to Creekside and said, this is the tree we want. So
yes, I want to, do we want to talk about this as a full committee, or do we want to talk about it as a subcommittee? Because you and I could talk for 15 minutes about it, but it's
okay.
that way. That's
So it's up to you.
Well,
I'm-
I'm asking the committee, you guys are the ones, you want to get into this, or do you want to have the subcommittee have a meeting and report back?
Either way's fine. I mean, as long as I can always email my thoughts. I mean, I can think I've spoken most of them, but if I have additional thoughts, I can email them.
I'd like
Mary,
to do it for a
Maybe,
subcommittee.
yeah.
So I think it was just Megan and I on the subcommittee before, and she's gone.
I'd be happy to join. It's fine. If you need somebody.
that's fine for me, yeah.
So take it up in the subcommittee, right?
Okay.
Because the old tree is not going to come out till after Christmas, right? So we have a little time.
Yeah, we have time, it's the season to plant, and we need to fix the irrigation. Right now, it's just completely turned off, so we should probably, get in the hole and repair it.
Yeah.
And mark where it is.
Yeah, they just, cap it instead of just turning off the whole loop. So, okay, we'll set that up. I guess I'm still on staff update, sorry. So I took us off on a tangent by bringing that up, I'm sorry. I had a discussion about trash with Keegan Black, who's responsible for all the NIFTYs and the municipal regional permit and annual reporting after the comments from last meeting. And he noted the stuff at Lagoon and Sierra Point Parkway and said his understanding was that most of that property, Lagoon is UPC, and the off-ramp part is Caltrans. So I asked him to talk to both, to do a service request with Caltrans, which he's going to do right away, and then also to communicate with UPC about setting up regular pickup on their property, because I think their property is right about at the edge of the road, and most of the trash is kind of off the pavement.
Great.
You're on mute, Michelle, if you're...
Sorry, the trucks pull off the pavement and park there and dump their trash.
Yeah, on
And it's
UPC's
despicable.
property.
Yeah, it is despicable. It's getting worse every day.
He mentioned he wanted me to share that we do patrols, but those are for bigger dumps, not for small trash. If somebody drops a load of something or a mattress, we have the arrangements with, I don't know, for Ecology, definitely South San Francisco Scavenger, maybe depending on which service area they're in, that they'll pick up X number of big dumps under their contract. And if there are more, then we pay them, but we still go out, put a cone, contact them. That doesn't work for small trash items that slowly accumulate. It's not the same kind of service. You mentioned Bayshore, but South San Francisco Scavenger walks and picks up the trash on Bayshore once a month. And I guess because they just drop off some staff that do that, we do the southbound southerly end, bottom 1,000 feet. We do that with a follow vehicle once a month. So Bayshore shouldn't be too bad. I mean, it's what I've seen is that it looks pretty good with that kind of regular service on it.
The part of Bayshore that's looking bad right now is the part that is south of south towards South City. It's looking bad along that whole side there.
Yeah, it is. I know exactly where you mean, Michelle, but I'm not even sure that's in the city limits.
It is.
Are you? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You see the sign?
Mm-hmm.
It's north of where the sign. So it's the blind curve and then further down. And that, I mean, I'll follow up with him, but we are doing that once a month. I asked about it and I was told that we have been doing it.
Okay. There's also still quite a bit of garbage. There's on Quarry Road.
Yes.
And a lot of it's got dumped over between Quarry Road and South Hill Drive. It's in that section where people have dumped off the side. And the same thing where they've dumped off of South Hill Drive down towards where the Guadalupe Trail is going to be. So those areas are just really a mess. And then the other area the other concern is all the little trash bins, the doggy dump bins, and the bins that we put up.
The dumping spot.
Yeah, I'm not seeing those empty. I mean, every time I go by one of those, they're like little doggy bags, coming out of them. At least they're in one spot instead of out on the street somewhere. But yeah, those need to be picked up on a regular basis.
So I walked
More
out
often
Quarry,
basis.
I walked out Quarry Road today. I didn't go all that far, just a little bit past the school. But it looked okay to me, and it looked like the trash bin had been emptied. I didn't see the dump you're talking about. Where was that?
That's past the stanchions on towards the quarry. So it's where.
Okay, so I didn't go out that far.
No, it's where it's not the walking part. The walking part actually looked really good when Mary and I walked it last week. We went further up Quarry Road, and that's where we saw stuff that had been dumped over the side. And then
I took the walk today all the way down, and there were some trash receptacles that were full, and the garbage on the right-hand side as you go towards the end.
Okay.
Do you guys do service requests, or do you save them up to tell me? Because I'm not.
Oh, I can do a service request. Yes. Okay.
I usually do service requests. I just haven't lately. It's so hard to find them. It's really like you go to the city website and the search function's not good, and so
an app on your phone.
I should do that. Yes, because
I love my app.
then I can make them crazy.
I mean, I have a ton of them in there, and I do it for the adopt a spot if I'm out walking or doing anything. Any of those things, I'll put it right in, because it puts all those requests together where the person that's responsible can track them. If I email them separately, that's a different way that they have to track. They're all in. Go request is almost everything.
So do you get the go request just to the App Store and it automatically does Brisbane?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
and then you can snap a picture and upload it right then. It's great.
It does work. I requested new signs for Quarry Road through Go Request, and I'm really happy that we're going to get them. I would like to know, since Bob is here, what's the ETA on our new signs?
When I ordered them after the last meeting, he said they were a little backed up, and then there was she said, about 2-week production time. And now that you're asking, I haven't heard back from her. So I will see. I will follow up tomorrow. But she did let me know that they were backed up, and I think maybe lighter staff with COVID or something, because she gave a heads up that they were a little bit backed up. And then once it got processed, it was 2 weeks production time. So it should be, coming up.
Cool. I'm just excited. I can't wait to see them.
Yeah, me too. And right when I saw staff updates, I'm like, I haven't heard from Interstate. So we'll see.
Thank you.
But yeah, on the go request, I'll second that. Even the police use it when we were doing the drought stuff back in the drought. The police were using it all the time. So internally, we just do go requests. So that's the way forward.
Okay.
It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. I like it.
Yeah, it is.
Keegan, we talked about, we get a certain allotment of what's called Measure M funds, and that's your vehicle $10 of your vehicle registration fee that goes towards dealing with pollution from vehicles. And some of it goes to street sweeping. Some of it goes to the trash capture devices that we put in over the years. We're looking at possibly trying to purchase called a Mad Vac in coming years by accumulating a couple years worth of money. And it's a little sweeper. You may have seen them. I know San Francisco has one because I hear it when it comes by. But it'll sweep like a bike lane. If you put a barrier and you have a narrow area, it'll sweep that. And I think it has a vacuum hose. You can get into smaller spots. So I'm thinking that can help with smaller trash and leaves and that kind of thing. And I wanted to, yeah.
Can I randomly interject while I think about it?
Yeah.
I was just on a webinar the other day about electric vehicles, new vehicles that were coming out, and there are electric Mad Vacs now.
Oh well, send that to Keegan. He's the lead on that.
Great.
And then we need a charger for it. And we are going to put out a new request for proposals for street sweeping. South San Francisco is doing our street sweeping for a number of years, but they've been just down on staff and not able, when COVID started, they couldn't do it. And they basically kind of said, can't, maybe in the future. So we've been doing, we have a company doing, a commercial company doing some of our most urgent commercial stuff right now. Barbara.
Randy knows, because he's heard from me about this, is that they need to actually come by at the hours posted in the sign. The one
Are
on,
you on your street?
oh yeah, I mean, that sometimes they come by, I mean, they've been better lately, but there was a time that they would come by at like 4 in the morning when none of the cars had moved.
Oh, on Viz.
No, on San Bruno, it's supposed to be 8 to 10 a.m. on Wednesdays. And they would come by at like 4 a.m. and there, not a single car was off the road because that's not what was posted. And then also I have videos of them just driving down the middle of the street when there were no cars.
South San Francisco.
Yeah, so
Well, then maybe it's a.
I'm thinking something new is in order, and this time our contract should have some teeth. You know, like if you drive down the middle of the street, then maybe you get paid 10% less, or if you don't show up at the prescribed hours, you don't get paid the full something. There needs to be some. I mean, preferably.
Yeah, I hear. I want to jump in.
Yeah.
It seems like the bar is not super high for street sweeping, but you would have to show that they didn't get over to the curb. And San Bruno Avenue, we have batted around for a very long time because the city, and I guess I'm saying the city council, I don't know, the city is reluctant to enforce street sweeping on a lot of streets. So right now, they only write tickets on visitation. That's the only street that we do.
That's fine. That's not
San Bruno, San Bruno, most people don't move. If you're not gonna, there's not a stick, it's a tough one to sweep. And so how can we make that better? That's the question. How, people aren't voluntarily moving. Enough people are not voluntarily moving.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, even when it's, so even beyond that, I mean, I have this video of like, there were no cars for like half the block and the thing still drove down the middle of the road.
Well, I pay those invoices, so send the videos to me.
Next time I will. I'm not sure I still have it.
Because I'm not there at 4 a.m. I'll say that.
This one was like they came during the right time. They just didn't get anywhere near the curb.
Yeah.
Can I say something about the 4 a.m.? Can we not have the street sweeper at 4:30 a.m.?
It's not supposed to be.
It consistently I haven't heard it for a long time on visitation, but consistently they were coming at like 4:30 in the morning and waking everybody up.
I hear it. Yeah.
I hear it from our house loud and clear. And that is just, I mean, that's why we have a noise ordinance that people can't start construction work till 7, I
don't know if this is the right form for it, but I think someone needs to revisit the time in which they go up visitation for various reasons.
So maybe they should go at noon.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think maybe 8 or 9. I mean, people are trying to find parking, right? So parking is a big issue because all the people on visitation are going up to the streets adjacent to that. So the parking gets terrible. And then it's very early in the morning, 4:35.
Yeah.
So if you moved it, if you're able to move it to like 8 or 9 when people are up and maybe going to work, then I think,
I mean,
I think it would work better.
I do too.
But you do have a business district, so you can't do it too late because they're not going to be happy.
Yeah. I mean, usually commercial districts you do overnight. And I think that was the original thinking behind that. I'm not sure.
But this isn't a normal commercial district.
Well, right.
But Glenn, you had your hand up.
I was just going to say that I don't think we should be too strict about enforcement right now because there are a lot more people working from home.
We're not
because of
enforcing
COVID.
right now. We're not enforcing now. We're not enforcing now.
Okay. I think it's
Police-
just going to be tough to do anything because people are working from home
Yeah.
with COVID. So I know for sure that there are more cars where I live than usual because people aren't going to their offices.
Yes.
So all the cars are there and it's going to be tough to move them for the same reason.
The police didn't want to. I asked them to enforce. Because you can't get the street clean if the cars aren't moved. And I don't know, in a city, I guess, you know, we're hearing that in the middle of the night, street sweeping, garbage pickup. It's kind of, you know, you're trying to get it.
I know a long time ago, we had an actual person doing it and not the big street sweepers. Is there any thought about bringing that back? We had a guy sweeping visitation.
Yeah, Paul.
Do you remember? Yeah. Do you remember that? Yeah. And it was consistent. The streets, they were always clean.
He swept the streets and sidewalks all the time. And
Yeah.
the main street was clean all the time.
Yeah. So I don't know, you know, what we're paying whoever to clean our streets. I mean, there needs to be some type of, I don't know, just a suggestion, right?
It's
That would-
definitely a lot less efficient if you think about, you know, the street sweeper sweeps 25 miles a week and 3,000 square feet of parking lot once a month. And a person can't do that much. A person could do visitation. It's a lot more expensive
Okay.
annually.
I think I talked to Randy about this at one point too, and there's also something rules about the stormwater, how the stormwater prevention pollution happens, and I think there was something that didn't acknowledge human as an effective stormwater pollution prevention measure. You had to use the machine.
Mechanical.
Okay.
Yeah, it's government. You know, we love it. We want to throttle it.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it's probably because you can't cover as much area, you know, and you're having to prove that you're
Yeah.
sweeping all your commercial streets and all your business districts.
Yeah, but I guess the point I'm trying to make is it's done once a week, right? Machine wise. If you had someone out there every day, you would alleviate any storm drainage getting clogged because you would have somebody out there all the time. I mean, that's
Yeah,
how it
but
was before.
a person is a lot more expensive than having a sweeper run up a street and write tickets. Because again, the street sweeper can do 25, and then they're actually doing it in one day, so 25 miles in a day. And Paul could do, you know,
Yeah.
half a mile, if maybe.
Well, I can't believe the current street sweepers are doing 25 miles a day in Brisbane. They're just doing visitation in San Bruno, right?
Well, Brisbane includes Bayshore, Guadalupe, Industrial,
Okay.
Fairpoint Parkway.
Okay.
And they're sweeping all of those?
Yeah. They send GPS too.
Yeah, I mean, move on because I think that
Yeah.
I think going back to a person is not a feasible option.
Yeah, no, that's,
It makes me sad.
it was a thought.
Doing visitation on a reasonable hour in San Bruno Avenue at a reasonable hour is a thought. I think 8 a.m. would be just fine. Even 7 a.m. would be okay, but 8 a.m. people are moving their cars, you know?
I heard that. I'm gonna move on.
Okay.
Justin and I met with Transportation Authority staff, Measure M. I don't know if that means anything to you when I say Measure M, but it was the sales tax that you guys passed for a county enhanced transportation funding project. So they're looking at how to provide technical assistance to agencies, and gave them lots of feedback about, you know, how great that would be if they did it. And we are looking to apply for a rubberized asphalt pavement grant from Cal Recycle to resurface with its, you know, recycled tires, Sierra Point Parkway. Waiting for that grant to be issued. We did it once before, probably 10 plus years ago on Beatty and maybe industrial too. And it's actually held up pretty well on Beatty considering all the truck traffic.
Okay.
Okay, so those were my updates.
Sounds great.
Unfortunately, I don't have any updates other than I don't think we're going to be able to do a planting day, Michelle, in January. So we'll keep our momentum going, and hopefully by Earth Day we'll be back at it with a passion.
Yeah. This latest setback is not happy.
Yeah.
Are we on to subcommittee reports? It's 8 o'clock. In our last meeting, we had asked to schedule an open space subcommittee meeting, but you had a pretty full agenda with getting the 5-year plan done. So can we schedule that soon?
Yeah.
Okay.
We haven't done anything with the cap really.
I think at last meeting we said we should have a meeting shortly after the first of the year, and I hope we still do that. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep, I had noted that, and I figured I would send out a doodle poll a little bit closer to when we would actually meet rather than sending it 2 months ahead. So it's still
Sure.
on my to-do list, so I'll get that out so we can meet in early January.
Sounds good.
For events, obviously Habitat Restoration Days, hopefully by Earth Day, we might be able to have a modified one if things are better. And I truly hope we have Day in the Park because I can't wait to have our recycled art contest gallery. I think that's just going to be so amazing.
Education and outreach. I saw all the books going into the library, so we're getting close. But Adrian, do you remember the woman who manages the library? I want to say her name was Tamika. I was trying to find her contact information so I could reach out.
I can try to look that up and get that to you. I think you're
Okay.
right. That was Tamika, maybe Tamika Price?
Yeah, maybe.
I should have her contact info in my inbox.
Okay.
I will make a note to look that up.
And I'll reach out to her.
Yeah, Mary, would you copy me on that?
Oh, of course, yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Then invasive species ordinance.
I have a mea culpa. I was supposed to write an article on French broom and why it's so awful, and include its flammability. And I still intend to do it. My intentions are good, but you know about the road to hell, how it's paved with good intentions. I haven't done it yet.
And rubberized pavement. It's called vulcanization.
So I apologize to the committee for being behind on that. I still will do it.
Great. Dark skies we've already talked about. Crocker Trail Master Plan. I think I mentioned this last meeting, but the next community outreach will provide a look at the plans that our consultants have drawn up. So hopefully everybody will have a chance to join that virtual meeting. So I encourage you to do so. Tree issues. I updated the draft ordinance with additional language. I emailed Michelle and Barbara with that update. It's the Google Doc. So take a look at it. I just added more information in the introduction and why we should have this committee. So it's not ready for prime time yet, but it's getting there. So if you can take a look at that and let me know, and then maybe we can hopefully have it as a goal for Q1 of next year.
Mary, I tried to look at it today. I think I texted you and
Yeah.
I don't understand why I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, I had a problem getting into the document because I was using the wrong Google account. So when I realized that, I was able to get in easily. So it's sitting out there.
Okay,
Like if you have a work or a personal Google,
I have 3 personal Googles.
so maybe it's the other one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't have any trouble getting into the document that came with the dark skies document. So I don't know. I'll figure it out or ask you to send me it in
Yeah,
you know,
no
like
problem.
a Word
Yeah.
doc or something, or some antiquated software.
Barbara?
Yeah, I had a ranty day and I sent out a big email with all of my tree complaints, and I just was following up and see if you Mary and Michelle got that.
Oh yeah, I did get it. And I actually commented in the document that it would be nice to have the addresses where trees have not been replaced and previously removed by the city, because it's factual. And so if we're going to go before council with that, I think it's good to have that, and the length of time it's been without a tree. So
I didn't see that, Barbara. You sent it to my email?
Yeah, Adrian forwarded, so you
yeah,
can double check your,
yeah,
right?
I forwarded?
yeah, I think so.
Ooh,
Not to me.
I remember getting it.
All right, I'm
So,
gonna have to look and see what happened.
yeah.
I know to Ingrid to send to council as well, and I thought I CC'd you and asked you to send it to the tree subcommittee. So I'm gonna have to. I'll go look.
Maybe I let. Okay.
Maybe I did.
I didn't get it. Okay.
I mean, the one thing I noticed, and maybe you guys already have as well, is there were, the little bulletin board by the community center, by the library. There were 4, I think there was 4 permits requested for tree removals. So there are quite a few. And I don't know why they're asking for the removal. I'm assuming that the trees are dead or whatever the case might be, but there are 4 requests for those type of permits.
Yeah, I have a question about that, Karen. How are they inspecting those trees for approval of tree permits, especially since the person who usually handles it isn't here?
You have to ask that department.
Yeah, I'm upset about that. It's just not reasonable that we're not out physically inspecting those before chopping them down.
I mean, I don't know if someone else is doing it. I'm working remote too, so I haven't heard any.
Well, they
Where
shouldn't
are
be
these trees?
approved unless they're physically, looked at.
You know who to ask about
Huh?
that. That's who's doing. That's the community development department. So ask them.
Mary, where are these trees?
You know what? Hang on for a minute. I'll tell you right now. I took pictures of it, of the permits. Just give me a second.
While she looks for that, I did forward that email. It was November 20th. Michelle, you should have gotten it. It looks like I sent it to you.
I was
Both of you were like, what?
distracted right around then.
Okay,
but I will
ready, guys?
Yeah.
The first one is on 100 Kings Road. They're removing a coast live oak tree from the rear yard. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, 887 Humboldt Road, another coast live oak from the rear yard. Number 3, no, this is blurry. Oh, it's actually Kings. It's Clark Conway's house. He's removing a California, it's really blurry, sorry. California, I don't know, bay tree.
And he's not
Yeah.
moving that one in front of his house, is he? That comes through the deck. I'll cry.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. And then the last one I took is, oh, this is up on the ridge. There's not a specific address, but it's a side yard between, here's the address. Side yard between 14 and 16 Huckleberry Court. and it's the removal of one Tristania conferta tree.
Sayonara for that one.
Yeah, so I just, there was, I mean, that's 4 permits being issued. I don't know if they were issued, but just noticing a lot of tree removal request.
Yeah, I mean, in my letter of complaint, I mentioned that we're taking out more than one large we're taking out large trees at a rate of greater than 1 per month, which is just egregious.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the time to mention that we got a request to remove a redwood tree on Mariposa near San Bruno that's in the right of way, and we denied that. Well, it was a request of Public Works to take out a street tree because it was pushing up the sidewalk, and we're gonna repair the sidewalk even though it's pushed it up before, and we're gonna they said it's a trip hazard because the tree is kind of pushing out into the sidewalk and narrowing it, but the sidewalk's narrow in so many places, so we're gonna put the sidewalk and leave the tree. You might see pink paint if you walk down Mariposa.
I know where that tree is.
So struggled to save it, even though it's a tough tree and it's near 2 buildings.
And I also noticed today on Corey, I don't know if you guys noticed it, there was like 4 or 5 cones on the right-hand side as you're walking down. And I don't know if that tree is being removed or I don't know, but it was by, it's a huge tree and the cones are right around it. So I don't know. It's a beautiful tree. I can't tell you what type it is, but it'd be a shame if that goes. So that's all I have on tree issues.
One of the things that's really a challenge, and this is one of the reasons why I really want us to have the tree committee, the tree technical advisory group, is many trees in Brisbane are attaining a certain age pretty much simultaneously, because a lot of them were planted about the same time. And if you go back and look at historical photos of Brisbane, it was mostly grassland except up in the canyons. And with the development of Brisbane, we've planted a lot of the street trees were planted in that big project in 1981. A lot of the different trees, all of the Monterey pines that were planted in the 60s. And so it's hard because our urban forest is short-lived. I mean, it hasn't been around for 200 years. Some of the oak trees, some of the coast live oak trees have been around for 200 years, but they were in the canyons, and so we are going to have a lot of issues, and it's really, really hard because some trees are not healthy or they're at the end of their lifespan simultaneously with trees that were planted at the same time. And so we really, really need to stay on the replanting of trees and really examine each case by case scenario so that we don't lose our entire urban forest at one time. That would just be tragic. But it is going to be challenging, especially when Barbara says that we're losing 1 large tree a month. That's about what at one point the planting rate was in the 60s, was about 1 tree a month. So it's really hard because they're all coming of age, of a certain age of like 50 years, 60 years old, about the same time.
Trees usually, I mean, there are definitely variation in species, like figs don't live very long. I mean, 150 is pretty normal for a tree, a lot of species.
150 years might be normal for a native tree. It's not normal necessarily for an ornamental tree that was planted in not its normal habitat and not under natural conditions. And so, yeah, it's all circumstantial. Depends on the tree, depends on the care, depends on a lot of things. So this is one of the reasons why physical inspection of a tree before issuing a tree permit, especially for a heritage tree, is pretty vital. And so by somebody who knows what they're looking at, it's an arborist, a certified arborist that doesn't have an interest in cutting down the tree. So, okay, I'm off my soapbox now. Let's go on.
Okay, so benchmarking ordinance.
I think we covered that in staff updates, and neither of them are here anyway.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Beautification.
I've never, ever, ever gone to a meeting because no one has ever, ever called me or asked me or anything. Do we even have a beautification committee besides G3?
I don't know, it might have been ad hoc. We can ask. Maybe that should be grayed back until, there were a few meetings. Who was, Meg was
Second
on.
one. Yeah.
Meg.
There were 2 or 3 or 4. Maybe they solved what they wanted to solve. I'm not really sure.
I don't know.
Okay. And then
But
Lippman-
G3 has done a beautiful job decorating the main street.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
Yeah, it's startling at times where how cute it is in certain places.
And Lippman Science Fair. I reached out to Bob Detmer and he got back to me. And they are going to do something. He does not know what. He will let me know. I said, OSEC is very interested in participating, and whatever you do, we're there for you. So please let us know. And he will. So I will report back as soon as I find out.
Oh.
I think that's it for subcommittees, right? Anything else?
New slide.
Okay.
So I finally updated our calendar. We have 2021 on here. And you will note that I did put our usual events in starting in April. So hopefully we will be able to go back to a relatively normal event schedule. Obviously, all of this is very tentative. It changes often throughout the year. But this is roughly what I am aware of that we have on tap. I noted earlier the disposable foodware ordinance. So I'm hoping to be able to bring a draft to the committee in January. And I have talked with the county staff who is leading that effort, and she is available to join us and give us a little presentation on that in January. So hopefully we'll be able to move that forward. And then I also thought, and this is flexible, but given that we'll be in the first mandatory compliance cycle, I'd like to get a presentation on a more detailed presentation on the building efficiency program in sometime in the early part of next year. It doesn't necessarily have to be February, but we can put that sometime in that February to April timeframe, hopefully, since the compliance deadline is May. And I know we had talked about having a hike in the Brisbane Acres this year that didn't pan out. So I tentatively put that in there as July. Maybe we'll be able to make it happen this next summer.
Can we schedule the recycled arts and crafts contest?
Oh, I did. If you look in the right column, I was suggesting to start that in June. Does that seem like about the right time? I was thinking summer time and
somehow or another. Oh, there we go. The right column was cut off on my screen. So okay.
Yep.
June. Yeah, launch it. I would launch it even earlier because I think that if we really want to have a good setup for Day in the Park, we may want to have the contest wind down by Labor Day at the latest, or actually maybe by the end of August so that it gets judged and we know what kind of space we're going to need for display and everything.
Yeah, that was kind of what I thought, but I was thinking June, July, August, 3 months.
That's not very long when it takes, a day for each layer of paper mache to dry. No. I just think.
When do you think would be a better time? I was just a little bit cognizant of my own time in like April, May, between Earth Day and the compliance deadline, May 15th. Like that time frame might get a little bit tight on kind of my end of things, but I think the opening of it is probably not too much effort, so flexible with that.
Yeah, I think that we should announce it, on Earth Day. Recycled. Yeah, but it's it's a nice long time frame. People can get their heads around it, and maybe even when we put up the website for the current, that we announce that we will be having another recycled arts and crafts contest. The deadline will be August 31st this year.
I didn't know if we wanted to put specific dates on it yet, but I did mention that we are planning to make it an annual event.
Yeah,
So
but
that's already in.
I think we need to really make sure that they know this the end of August, that they don't have the dog days of summer to work on it, get it done, you know, because hopefully we'll be displaying at the festival.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Can we, you know, be a little proactive and secure space in the star so we can continually advertise all the different events OSEC is working towards?
I don't generally have trouble getting our content in the star.
Okay. Okay.
Caroline is usually plenty able to accommodate anything we give her, provided we, you know, let her know that we're going to be giving her something and have it in by the time she needs it. So generally her deadline is the 15th of the month. So, you know, we want to be probably letting her know maybe a week beforehand or better if possible, and then making sure we're getting everything together to have to her by the 15th.
Okay. And maybe just have a feature each month, you know, invasive species, what not to plant, what to plant.
Well, it'd be hard to reserve a spot, and then what if we don't have something? What if it doesn't get written, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, in some months we have two things. I sent her the recycled art contest and the buy right case study for January. So, and she's going to have both of those in there. So I think, you know, I think it seems fine to just be flexible, and, you know, if we want to have something on a monthly basis, we just need to make sure we're getting ahead of knowing what that content is going to be on our site and getting it to her.
Yeah. And if we decide at our meeting every month, which is the third Wednesday, then we should be able to have a whatever we have ready by the 15th of the following month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like for February, we have to have whatever we have to have by January, say 10th. Yeah. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions on the calendar?
No, really great job, you guys.
Thank you.
All right, chair and member matters. I do have one slide in here that Michelle asked me to put in at the public comment periods coming up. Well, not coming up, they're open. So just reminding folks that they are open and what those current deadlines are. For OU2, the deadline is the end of January. And then for OUSM, that is at the end of, February 15th, not the end of February. And there is going to be a public meeting on that one on January 7th. So I have the links up here on the screen. They're pretty easy to find, I believe, from the city website. And I know that Caroline has had them included in the city email newsletter several times at least. I would imagine they will be there again as those deadlines are approaching.
Yeah, and maybe we could have it in the Brisbane Blast too, a city manager's blast or whatever it's called.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's
okay.
I mean,
yeah.
That's where I pulled those links from.
Okay.
I know that's an easy place to find it. So they've been there at least several times.
Wasn't there also something with the high-speed rail too right now?
That one closed already?
That one closed a while ago, I believe.
It closed a while ago, but I saw something come through about they responded to the questions or something. Damn, I got so many papers recently, it's not funny.
Sorry, I'm not familiar with that. My understanding was that the high-speed rail comment period had closed a while back and the city had submitted comments.
The city submitted like a lot of comments,
yeah.
But then I thought that there was supposed to be response to the comments. Was that what I'm thinking that got published recently?
They are supposed to respond to the comments, but as to whether or not it got published recently, I couldn't tell you.
All right. If I find what I'm thinking about, I'll send it to you. My mind's been kind of a whirl.
Okay.
Too many things at once. Thank you, Adrian. I'm glad you put this up here. I really want people to take a look at it and comment. I think people have, besides COVID fatigue, I think they have Baylands development fatigue as well. And so I think we need to really renew our efforts in making sure that this gets done right. I already feel like they're not quite sticking to the plan. I really didn't like having the EIR for the specific plan put ahead of having a specific plan. And then, you know, things like that. So I think we really need to stay on this as a community and as a committee.
Any other?
I take it that committee's not going to make comments as a group, correct?
No, the city will be commenting. So, you know, the committee has not been asked to weigh in on that.
Anybody else? It's like, no, covered a lot of things, right?
Thank you, Karen, for the Go request. I downloaded that app while we were talking. So,
Oh, good.
I did too.
Yeah.
Here they come.
Here they come.
I'm busy.
Well, Mary and I will be taking a walk. We'll be like, okay, you want to do it or shall I? Let's both do it. Yay.
Yeah.
Okie doke. So next meeting in the new year.
Yeah. What date is the next meeting? January 20th. Like, I can see that, really. I can.
Is it a 5 Wednesday? No, this is a 5 Wednesday month.
Yeah, this was a 5 Wednesday month. Okay, January 20th, 6:30 p.m. You guys really reach out and see if you know somebody who wants to. Oh, that's cute, Karen. Woohoo!
I like that.
This is a pet reindeer.
That's it.
But
I like it.
you know, reach out to somebody who you think would be really an asset to the committee and invite them to put in an application. Because we're going to be one short. We've got hopefully Glenn and Barbara, and then we're still one short. So
Yeah, let's get someone else.
yeah. And then I think the other committees need some people too, especially Park and Rec got pretty much decimated. So
Okie doke.
okay.
Well, happy holidays to you guys, and thank you.
Happy holidays to you guys.
Happy holidays,
Good
everybody.
holidays.
Take
Happy
care.
New
Happy holidays. I think we need a motion to adjourn.
Oh, you're right.
All right.
A motion to have happy holidays.
Is that your motion, Glenn?
I move that we adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Nice sweater too, Adrian. But I don't know. It's hard to beat those reindeer antler.
Feeling silly.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.